If you'd have said, Dawn, you could pick any place in the whole world to live, where would you want to live? I would have picked this exact farm. Coming to you live from the silver Prius. I forgot which one we were in. So Tom, how did we end up with 2 Priuses when we swore we would never, ever, ever drive a Prius?
Never, ever, ever, ever.
And it's just because Tom's a car guy, right? And Priuses are iconically not cool. No power, battery operated.
Weird shape, slow.
Yep.
Toyota, what else? So this bad boy had a blown motor. Put one in myself.
How much was it? It was so cheap.
$300 for engine.
With how many miles?
125,000.
It's like a new car now.
Did that last weekend. Runs like a champ.
All right, show us what accidentally happened to the other one.
This one is our OG. This is the original. We bought this one a couple weeks before this one. This one I bought on an insurance auction. Totaling fees and everything was $1,000. It wasn't that bad until I backed it into a tree. In our own yard, in our yard. So I backed it into a tree. And I know you think, okay, you backed it into a tree on your own property. Well, A, it was a cut down tree. It should not have been there. B, I was trying to race Dawn. She was on foot. I was in a Prius.
It was a close race, let me tell you.
And yes, I backed it into a tree.
But Tom knows how to fix that kind of stuff, so.
And I tinted both windows on both vehicles. So no one can see us in it. So we can drive them.
So a little while back we said we would answer the question of how we afford it all, because that question had come up. We know it's highly relative. We know talking about money is probably opening ourselves up for criticism. So how we ended up in 2 Priuses actually starts with us buying our property, so it does tie in together. Tom and I have been looking for a property in the country fairly close to my parents' house, and we were just looking for a couple acres, a decent house, a shed.
I was open to all kinds of locations. Dawn had like 2 to 3 miles radius around her parents' farm. That was what I was given.
Well, you know, once you have kids, it's just nice to have the support system, right? That comes with being close to family. And so we had been looking for different properties. We'd had offers in on properties. We'd had them fall through for every kind of reason. Yep. And so we had moved back into my parents' basement, just hoping and praying that something was going to come available soon. This property that we ended up buying, found out was coming available. It never actually went on the market, but we just made it known that we would be interested if that were at all a possibility. Yep. And what's cool about it though is that this is a farm that I drove by my whole life, and I always loved it. I always admired it. I loved the little white house. I loved the red barns. It was always kept up like perfectly neat, and it was just like an iconic farm. If you'd have said, Dawn, you could pick any place in the whole world to live, where would you want to live? I would have picked this exact farm. So it was kind of cool when it actually came together for us to get to live here. And so when we agreed to buy it, it was a little bit bigger mortgage than what we were hoping for. We have 30 acres just outside of the Twin Cities. And so I knew going into it, it meant that I had been staying home and then doing some freelance work. And so I knew that it would mean me contributing more financially to our household. And at the time, I was okay with that. And I wouldn't have just made that decision for any house, but for this property to get to live here, it was definitely something that I was willing to do. But it also meant some sacrifices on Tom's part as well.
So being a car guy, not a Prius guy, yeah, we've had to sacrifice in the vehicle department. We could go to a dealership and buy a brand new vehicle if we wanted to, but we drive older vehicles that I fix. Everything is, well, actually, everything had 200,000 or more miles on it until we got 2 Priuses.
So how did you arrive? So Tom has owned over 40 vehicles
yeah, like mid-40s.
Since he could drive. So this is like number like 44 and 45 or something. So we've had a lot of experience with different vehicles.
Some of you think I'm crazy, but I think it's awesome.
So we swore we would never drive a Prius. That was like the one thing we're like, it's just not worth it because it's so not cool.
So I fell into the Prius trap because couldn't find anything that got anywhere near the mileage. We drive a lot. We're averaging like 46, 47 with these things. And I don't drive mine nice. The one I drive around, I just to the floor pretty much most of the time, which again, it's not fast, but cheap, cheap, cheap. Insurance is cheap. Mileage is amazing. Repair cost is nothing. You just have to tint the windows.
So now we have 4 vehicles, which is not very minimalist. We do need to keep the Yukon because we do use that for real estate and we want to look professional. We do drive that, or if all 6 of us are going somewhere, we drive the Yukon, but we try to drive that as little as possible, or in the snow in the winter.
Yeah, or in the winter for 4-wheel drive.
And so Tom's truck is probably going to be...
So that, I'm probably going to end up selling that truck in the next, I don't know, a few weeks. I'll put it for sale just because we don't need it. It honestly sits there most of the time.
Yeah.
I'm a big truck guy. I love trucks. I need a truck. Like, I want a nice truck. But it's not really conducive with our life at the moment. And the Priuses are working. And then we have the Yukon, so...
Yep. And so getting back to how we afford this is... We did do the Dave Ramsey financial piece quite a while ago.
We are not debt-free.
We're not debt-free, no. But... that set us up to make better financial decisions, which helped to make this possible. We both work full-time or more than full-time, which for a season, that's not our goal long-term to have to work as much as we are. It's not sustainable for us to keep going at this pace, but that's not our intention.
No.
And then also by driving over older vehicles, any of the improvements we've been doing around our place, we've been trying to, pay cash as we go. I had this naive belief that if the way this came together for us to even get to live here, in a way, it felt like it was meant for us to live here. And that I believed if this dream was coming true, I never thought we could actually live on a whole farm. I never would have thought that was possible in this area. And so I just had this naive belief of, well, the money will follow, it'll come together. All of the different contract work I was doing didn't have a set income, so I thought, well, I can make more money, And so that's my rosy outlook on life. Tom is usually more grounded, and it has been stressful for you at times. And we just looked at it like, if it ever got to a point where we couldn't afford it, if we had to sell it, then we would be open-handed with it. That's not our intention. I would hope to live here the rest of my life.
Her mom and dad, we're not selling.
We're not selling.
No.
But I'm just saying, if it were ever something where it was just too stressful to continue living here, or if it was having a negative impact on our family, then we would sell it. And I know we could live anywhere and be happy, but I really love living here. I really enjoy it. I'm grateful for people in my life my parents raised me to just believe if you can dream it, you can do it. And so I am grateful for that. And I hope that if you have a dream, that you surround yourself with people that cheer you on and say, you can do it too, and go get them. Because, I don't know, I think life's more fulfilling when we have something, even if it feels a little bit outside of our reach, and it's a stretch, that it makes it feel more worthwhile. So, with that being said though, we don't believe in being house poor. And we've, working in real estate, we have seen people purchase homes that were outside of their comfort zone, and it doesn't always work out. So if you have peace about it, and if it makes sense, then go for it. But like I said, we wouldn't have made this commitment for just any house, and I am grateful that Tom was willing to make a leap for this property. So, all right, so that is how we ended up with 2 Priuses. We would love to know, do you have any experience driving Priuses or other ways that you save money on vehicles or gas? Because that column can really add up in a month, the vehicles and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like really fast.
A lot. So, or, methods you've done to get out of debt, a dream you have, a dream property that you have. It's really fun hearing about that, or even what you're up to this weekend. So be sure to leave that down below. And then coming up next weekend, we'll give some more project updates and a garden update too. Our garden is growing like crazy, living all this rain. Trees dying left and right, but what can you do?
Would you like a mosquito update? Because they're like breeding.
Yeah, so we'll look forward to that coming up, and we hope you have a really great weekend.
Bye-bye. Priuses are cool.
Not sure if I should be encouraging this or not.